Hey, what's up guys, Mashine here, come back with a brand new video for you guys. We're going to be hopping on into it after a quick word from our sponsor, Skins Monkey. The sponsor for today's video is Skins Monkey. Now, Skins Monkey is the quickest, easiest, and most importantly, safest way to go ahead and trade your CSGO skins. Now, Skins Monkey is super easy to use. You just have to take your item, take the item you want, and just go ahead, apply code MASTERSHINY to get your free $5 if it's your first trade, and just click trade. And if you've got no money to spend right now, they've got two ways for you to get some. First is just heading over and topping up. Make sure to use code MASTERSHINY for a free 5% there, and they've also got the freebies section where you can go ahead and enter free raffles that happen every single day. And as always, thank you so much, Skins Monkey. Make sure you use in the top link in the description to claim your free $5 today. Sorry for hitting you with the ad so early, but we gotta go. We got a ton of things to talk about. Starting off here with the CSGO skins. Obviously, the AWP doodle lore is no longer existing. I thought this wouldn't be much of a big deal, and honestly, in my opinion, it's not really much of a big deal. All it does is line Valve's pockets a little bit more because they're going to be taking back some profit from the skin owner, but basically they've went ahead and replaced it with the AWP duality. In my opinion, I don't really sway one way or the other. I think both of these AWPs looked rather decent. Personally, I'm a Containment Breach fan, so I won't be picking up either of these, but I do still think there are some pretty interesting crafts that can be made, and overall it's one of the better looking AWPs, especially for it only being a pink. Now, there are some interesting caveats that come with this. Obviously, we are in the development of that M4A4 as well, potentially being, remodified. Obviously, it's quite simple. There was never going to be another contraband skin, and I think people who thought that were just trying to create false hype to try and exploit people to make advantage and take their money. But basically, the other skin I'm going to be talking about is this Mac 10 right here. If you didn't know, he was the same person who produced that AWP that obviously got removed. Therefore, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this. What happens is Valve permanently bans a creator, so they're not going to be able to produce any more skins, and any past skins they have are going to be taken out. The reason I say it lines Valve's pockets is it doesn't really matter too much in the case of the recoil, because we don't know whether these creators were given $100,000 or a percentage in the stake of the case. But if they were given a percentage, obviously Valve is going to be taking that percentage back because they're most likely going to redesign the skin themselves. In other news, we've seen a lot of clickbait coming up around the Buff replacement. If you didn't know, Buff is being a big competitor in the form of a Chinese do-it-all-in-one website. Now, the biggest gist I want to get across here is a lot of people are focusing in on the fees, and I want to be completely clear. Fees do not dictate what marketplaces are being used. If we want to be completely honest, I've worked with Buff Market in the past. I really like them, but the thing is, they don't have a ton of traction on their website. That's something they struggle with, even though they offer pretty much the lowest fee out there. At 2.5%, I really don't think there's much for a lower fee, and therefore, if that was the case, everyone would be flocking to them. But we've got websites like Skinport that charge 12%, or lots of other marketplaces that fall in between. Fees are not the only thing that determine a website success, and I think a lot of people are going to be overplaying this in order to get your click, in order to get you to a little bit be on the scared side. So you're going to go ahead, click that video, and realize that there's probably a lot going on from the way they present it, but breaking it down, in my opinion, there's really not too much. At this point, they're still in a very developmental stage, and let's be completely honest, when's the last time you heard about Upin? Upin was the talk of the town for about a whole week. Obviously, the website's still there, and it's still very prosperous, but it's really not playing much of an impact as of now. No one's really talking about it, and therefore, I can reasonably say it's not making a large enough impact on the overall market for me to care or for me to make another video about it. The biggest thing I want to point out with all of this is obviously make sure you're getting your information from a trusted source that has your best interest in mind and is not just mindlessly creating videos in order to get your clicks. It's something that's starting to become a little bit more common as CSGO investing is ramping up, and I want you guys to be completely aware of that. After that, we got to talk about cases, because cases are on an absolute tear once again. There's two main cases I want to point out, one of which is kind of interesting, let's just say the least. First up, the CS20 case. This is obviously the interesting case I'm talking about. The CS20 case is going absolutely mad. If you look at the graph here, it's up almost 100% in the span of 30 days. It's at 40-ish cents right now, and who knows what the price is going to be when you see this video, because it could keep on increasing a cent or two an hour. It's absolutely insane that we're seeing a case like this with absolutely atrocious fundamentals overall going up in price. It shows you just how irresponsible the CSGO market for investing has gotten, that people are picking up significant amounts of the CS20 case for investment purposes. We know this case underperforms when it comes to unboxing numbers. When it comes to the knife inside of it, the classic knife at this point is really not a knife that many people are interested in. In fact, it comes in as the 5th worst case if we're looking at the actual price of the rare special item. The coverts are an okay price. It's got that decent price point of $40 per, which isn't crazy but isn't terrible, especially for a case that's sitting around that cent mark and not dollars. But it's also got a very average at best ROI, so I don't think there's a really good reason to be investing into it other than the fact of FOMO. I've got a ton of these that I picked up a significant amount of time ago, and the CS20 case overall as a whole is one that's really struggled to grow, and it's very interesting now that we're actually starting to see some growth. The other case I want to focus in on is obviously the revolver case. This is one that I'm always going to claim that I was one of the first people to talk about it. I made a video over 2 years ago talking about the revolver case and why I invested into it, and I got a lot of hate for it then, but we're starting to see the revolver case go up extremely quickly in price. It's absolutely insane, the massive growth we're seeing for the revolver case, almost to the point where it's starting to catch up to the Vanguard case. Now, don't get me wrong, it is still a decent ways away from actually overtaking the Vanguard case, but it's on an absolute tear like I've been mentioning, and if we look at the fundamentals of it, it is not very good of a case either, coming in at 51% ROI, but as everyone knows, you're unboxing it for that chance at that glorious Karambit blue gem or bayonet blue gem, whatever blue gem you want. You've got the potential here with the revolver case and all of those cases that contain the OG knives. Therefore, obviously, that's why the revolver case is up in price. It's been getting a lot of attention recently with a lot of big name people who have been on the hunt for that knife. There's not a ton I can say about it other than obviously be careful when we see cases go up 100% in the span of a month. Usually that's not sustainable. In this case, there is a very slight potential it is, just because the revolver case is a very unique case compared to the rest, but obviously make sure you know what you're doing. And finally, potentially the most important thing for you, depending on where you stand, is the Rio Capsules have officially been announced that they are going to be ending on February the 20th. Now, this is a very interesting situation because Valve has once again announced it, just like they did with Antwerp, so it's going to be very interesting to see if we see any FOMO flocking towards Rio in this specific situation. Now, at this point, Rio's numbers have remained extremely low for the entirety of Rio, so it's going to be very interesting to see where these prices actually end up once we're a couple months actually past the sale. Some people are a little bit skeptical that the sale is going to end at that specific date, but I think at this point there's no reason for Valve to lie. Obviously, they've given informal dates in the past. People really like to point to the December 15th that's in the shop. That's a very informal date. They missed that with Antwerp, and most people expected them to miss it once again with Rio. That's not something I will hold Valve to. However, this tweet is very formal. They did it with Antwerp and they removed it on a timely basis, so I think that's not something that'll be too out of the question as of right now. And one interesting extra thing to throw in here at the end is the AWP duality has really screwed up because they messed up the float values. Want to thank Text Lobby Scientist because he was the first person I saw actually create a video about this, and it's quite interesting. But as always, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.